Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2021 Toyota Tacoma TRD PRO. Let's see what Old Faithful has to offer. Before we get started on the front, I want to thank the guys over at Texas 4Runners. Now I know it's not a 4Runner, but they were awesome when we reviewed the 4Runner and they were able to answer some of the questions we didn't have, like the remote start, which we'll get into. So you definitely want to check them out. They have awesome t-shirts, they have cool stickers, and check out their website, join their Facebook group, because it's all about community, especially if you're in the Texas area and you have some Toyotas to play with. You want to join those other groups of guys as well. Well, let's get started with the front. We get to the front of this and we have some awesome things going on. This thing looks mean. It's a very compact kind of nose. It looks almost kind of like a bulldog nose. and it's got that bulldog attitude as well. So first of all, we start off with the headlights. These are the LED headlights. They have been revamped from years past and they look really nice. I love the tiny little detail of the TRD right here on the headlight. We have this hood scoop up here. Looks really nice, really fits in well. We have the massive Toyota grille. We do have a front-facing camera, and we have the Toyota safety sense here, which is awesome. Toyota's safety systems are incredible, really useful, especially with the cruise control systems. So definitely a nice thing to have on this awesome truck. And with this being the TRD PRO, we do have the Rigid Industries fog lights. It definitely adds a good amount of additional light to it. Another thing to add to the front is, I don't know if you guys can see, but right underneath, this has the TRD skid plates or the protection plates underneath. So we do have that in the front. It's great. I love it. It's awesome. It's very in your face of like, hey, we have a big skid plate, and it's kind of this like grayish white color with the red TRD. The only thing with this is we did feel something weird when we were on the highway on our road trips, when we were doing about 70-75 miles an hour, because God bless Texas and our really high speed limits on the highway. But I felt like a tug and pull kind of push and pull kind of sensation, and the only thing I can attribute it is to the aerodynamics underneath, including that skid plate. It was weird. It kind of had like a pocket of air. My guess would be that would be my only guess as to what was causing that. But yeah, it was kind of weird at moments, but it's better to have it than not have it when you go out on those trails. Now, yeah, I'm gonna state the obvious. It is not clean. It is not clean at all. But this Lunar Rock color is so nice. It is really nice. The reason it's not clean is because as soon as I got this, it was less than an hour where I said, I need to get this thing dirty. It was too clean. So that's what makes this Toyota so great. It makes you want to go out and have an adventure. So yeah, it's a little dirty. We kind of hit a pretty big puddle of water. The kiddo was definitely egging me on, so he's kind of to blame for that. But yeah, and when we look at the front, it just looks so nice. Well, let's take a look at what's under the hood and see what we have there. We get under the hood and we have the 3.5 liter V6 under here. It is connected to a 6-speed auto with the 4-demand 4x4 system that the Tacoma has. Couple of things with this. So first of all, this is where the Toyota Tacoma really falls short with things. This is where, and it's not that it's a bad power plant, but it was a great power plant 10 years ago or 15 years ago. So, or maybe even 20 years ago. So it's just one of those where it's Old Faithful, but long in the tooth, so to speak. It is, the power feels very hollow, meaning you're really putting the floor down, the pedal down to the floor, and you hear it roar, but not much is really happening. So that's where this, again, like I said, it kind of falls short with it. The transmission, I think, may have a lot to do with that. With the 6 speeds, nowadays, I always said 6 speeds should be enough, but it's really not when we're needing these vehicles to do so much as far as fuel economy, performance, you know, and durability as well is always important, obviously with Toyota. But the 6-speed definitely feels really, really antiquated. It really does. I wish the gear ratios were better on the lower end and on the higher end. And the programming, I wish it were a little bit better. But, and also the fuel economy. The fuel economy was not the greatest. And I think that's where Toyota has so much potential for the next generation Tacoma. I'm excited to see what's to come. Unfortunately for 2022, they're still staying the same. They just changed the color essentially for the TRD Pro. So we're gonna have to wait for 2023 and see what they have to offer for the Tacoma. Again, hopefully something good. Turbo would be nice, you know, maybe compete with the, you know, the Jeep Gladiator. Turbo would be definitely a nice little added feature for it. But yeah, it's okay. I was a little disappointed with this. Well, let's see what we have in the wheel and tire package. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and this is one of my favorite things about this Tacoma is we have the 16-inch TRD alloy wheels on this, and they are wrapped in the 265/70 Goodyear Wrangler tire. A couple of things with this. First, the design is awesome. I love it. The black looks so nice, you know, in contrast with the Lunar Rock color, and the TRD logo, nice and red there. Now, with the tire, this is extremely quiet. I was really surprised at how quiet these tires were. My only thing with this is I'm looking at the tread pattern, and it concerns me if you're going to be doing more aggressive off-roading, because it does look like a standard, you know, light truck tire. It doesn't have the TRD Pro kind of feel to it or touch to it, so to speak. So that would be my only concern if you're going to take this off-roading. With that being said though, on the road was extremely quiet, nice, you know, not much any noise. The wheel felt fine. I wasn't fighting at the wheel to keep it straight or anything like that. So definitely a great performing tire on the road. Couple of things with this being the TRD Pro, we do have the Fox shock system. The springs itself is red as well, and they look nice. They look really, really nice. I do love the look to them, and you know, it just makes this truck stand in a really nice way. Another thing with the brakes on this, these brakes are really, really strong. Except that this we have in the front are discs, but the rear are not. We actually have drum brakes still in the back. It's 2021, Toyota, come on. We need rear discs. In fact, saying 2020 is still saying, no, saying 2000, we could say we need rear discs. But yeah, overall, this was definitely a nice package with that suspension. Rode really nice on the road, and you can definitely get it off-road. In some little things here and there, it does articulate fairly well, but yeah, it's a nice wheel and tire package. Let's take a look at what we have on the side. We get to the side and we can see, even though it's a compact truck, it still has a good size to it. So we'll get started with the front, and we can see that kind of sculpted hood in the front. And like I mentioned, that kind of bulldog nose that we have in the front as well, with the nice hood scoop on there. And again, it's nice and dirty. It's nice and dirty with the Lunar Rock color. We have these nice tires that nice wheel and tire package. The fender covers here, good touch to it, just to avoid maybe throwing up the rocks right on the paint. And it's a good look that we have it in black to offset the Lunar Rock color and add that little flair to it. Now, I know the saying goes, you're paying for the badge, and this ain't no joke. You definitely are paying for this badge because it's huge. It's huge, and it's going to tell everyone this is a TRD Pro. So this is a plus in this case because you want to have this fun little thing there. And again, we have, I think with this model, you definitely need a step here. You definitely need a step. There's tons of them aftermarket that you can get to help the little guys that have trouble getting in. So you definitely want to have that on there. And when we get to the back, we have the double cab. So it is the larger size here, which is a nice touch. There's not a ton of space in the back, but it can do for fair size adults. We have your truck bed here. Again, it's not gonna be a full size. Gotta go with the Tacoma on that. But yeah, overall, it's a nice looking side to the truck. And the way it stands is really nice, good height. And when you're in that driver's seat, you really feel elevated because of those awesome Fox shocks suspension system in this. Now, let's take a look at the keyless entry side of things. And this guy will go in my pocket and I will reach for the handle, it unlocks and I can pull and I'm good to go inside. Great, that's exactly what I wanted. I can close this off and I do have a little, you know, those little lines that you see a lot to slide your finger on and it goes ahead and locks the truck. On the front only because I cannot unlock the back. So yeah, we're halfway there. So definitely would have been nice to have it in the back as well as been able to lock it. Well, let's go ahead and move to the back and see what we have there. We get to the back and we have a pickup truck bed. It's nice. Again, it has that nice jagged design that the Tacoma has for this generation. We have this tailgate, very easy to drop. It's not very heavy. It's also dampened, which is nice. Again, just a matter of pulling that. There's no fancy remote. Again, button to open it up. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. It works, it does the job. But yeah, we have a good amount of space. This does have the LED lights in the bed, which is a nice touch to have. You can turn them on from the inside as well as have them programmed to the door. And yeah, that button always looks funny. It looks like you're shooting a jellyfish out of your rear of the truck. But yeah, it's nice. It's got some power hookups here if you need to use this for a work truck and not just a fun truck. So it does the job. Very simple and very straightforward. And on the side, we do have the TRD exhaust on here. It is a black color, which is nice. I always love the black exhaust tips. It's not quite black right now because it is dirty from when we had some fun in it. Now, this is what I meant about joining Facebook groups like the Texas 4Runners group. They helped me out with the 4Runner. Unfortunately, after I filmed the video, that's my fault because I didn't join till after, to tell me that the 4Runner did have the remote start. And they told me how to set it up or how to turn it on in case I do get one myself. So this TRD Pro Tacoma does have it. So the way that you do it, and this is, again, because key fob time, it's very simple: lock, unlock, and the alarm to set off, or the panic button. Yeah, this start-stop system, or this remote start system, is not the best, but we have one nonetheless. So a couple of things. The way that you do it is you press it once, it beeps, press it again, beeps, and then the third time you hold it down. So you'll see the flashing and it turns on. The thing with this is you do have to wait for every single beep and then hold it down. It's not a simple 1, 2, 3 hold. It's 1 beep, 2 beep, 3 hold, and then you see the light flashing, then you hear the engine turn on, and then you let it go. Yeah, not the best. The other thing that's kind of a pet peeve is the moment I open up a door or even unlock it, it turns off. Yeah, not sure what's going on there, but anyways, let's go ahead. Yeah, see, I didn't catch it right. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's just hop in and go for a ride. You get into Tacoma and it's almost like a trip back in time. Yeah, there is a lot of little things that look aged, but let's get started. So we get to the door panel and the materials are very plastic, very rugged plastic, but it's more on the cheaper rugged plastic. There's tons of other vehicles that I've driven that have a rugged sense, but they still feel premium. This feels very 90s, okay, with plastic. And yeah, it's okay. A couple of things with the window controls. These do have auto down and auto up in the front, but they do not have it in the back. So Toyota, you were halfway there. You do it in the 4Runner, let's do it in this. It's should be on all vehicles. Very simple to do, just have auto up and auto down on all of them. So we have that. And when we get to the seats, because this is the TRD Pro, you do get these leather seats. They do have the TRD Pro logo stitched on them. They're nice. I mean, the logo's nice, and yeah, it looks good. Only thing though is on our road trip, these were okay. These were not super comfortable. They were a little bit on the uncomfortable side. and with that, this one, the driver's seat it is a power seat, so you can adjust your seat with power, adjustability, but not the passenger. Yeah, so that was a big what is going on here. So we go halfway through and don't put power on the passenger side. Yeah, I think that needs to be addressed in upcoming models because it's not fair. I mean, you should definitely, if you're getting power on this, you should definitely be able to put power on that as well. We get to the steering wheel, and this steering wheel looks familiar. This steering wheel looks familiar from the 4Runner, from the Sequoia. It is big for some reason in this. This felt extra big in this. I don't know if it's because the psychological aspect that I'm in a smaller vehicle compared to those significantly bigger ones, but this definitely felt bigger. I felt like I was driving a bus, and I didn't mind. I honestly didn't mind as far as the actual big wheel of it, and it's fairly comfortable. You have your dimpled material here for you to be able to grab it a little bit better, and we have your controls, the volume controls, which everyone knows and say they should really be flipped. And yeah, we have your cruise control settings on the back. With this, we do have that little stick that I kind of didn't like in the 4Runner because it was at a weird angle, or it didn't stick out as much. For some reason in this, it sticks out enough. I don't know if it's the same part or if it's just the seating angle, but it was enough for me to be able to see it. My one thing was that at night you cannot see this. So at night you can't see what the controls are, and because it's not illuminated. That would have been a nice touch to have this illuminated, but you get used to it. It becomes muscle memory, and you're able to set the cruise control. Then we get to the gauge cluster, and here's where we start seeing a little bit more of that age. It's nothing exciting, nothing exciting. We have your tachometer, you have your speedometer, analog gauges, and we have that little screen in the middle. There's really not much going on with that center area. Probably the most exciting thing was the pitch and roll meter. That's really it. But other than that, like I said, there's nothing really going on with this. This definitely needs to get updated. I'm hoping it does. Maybe a nice screen on here. That might be a little too much to ask, but give me better information. Just something unique. Maybe drive modes or something like that on here. Now, when we get to the infotainment system, this is actually updated. Yeah, it's okay. It's the JBL system that Toyota started integrating for Apple CarPlay, and it's okay. It's, you know, stay in your lane, which is what Toyota really does with this truck. Is it just stays in its lane. It doesn't try to veer off, but sometimes we need that. We need that, you know, off-road detour. But they stay in their lane with this very simple JBL system. It's okay. It sounded loud. It sounded clear. No complaints really. And yeah, Apple CarPlay connected. That's, like I said, where I was 99.9%. I don't even think I went out of it. Then we have this little LCD looking screen down here where you see your climate control setting. It looks like the odd man out though, because it stands out so much on this like more gray black scheme that we have here, and we have this very bright blue on here. But yeah, it was nice to see it there. I didn't have to hunt for it in any menus in there. And again, we have your AC controls, very simple, very straight to the point, no complaints there. And we have our drivetrain knob here where we can go to the, you know, we're in 2-wheel drive, 4 high and 4 low in this. And then we have an array of buttons down here, things ranging from your, you know, your blind side monitoring system, your ECT power, which we'll get to that soon, you know, your parking settings, that little fun one in the middle, which is actually to open up the rear window. So this has an electric sliding rear glass, which is nice. I remember, you know, as a kid in a pickup truck, that would have been awesome to have. So this has it, not just has one, but it's actually electric, which is nice, again, to have a cool little touch for that. You have your USB port, you know, your standard USB port, and we have your wireless charger, which is the next thing I want to talk about. The wireless charger in this is nice. It actually is nice for you to put your phone in there and have it charged. The problem with this is, again, we have a wireless charger, but we don't have wireless CarPlay. So I had to put my cable in to my phone, and when I do that, it's too long for that little area. But again, I don't need to put it in that area because it's already charging from the cable. And yeah, so it's definitely more for your passenger than it is for yourself. Then we come a little bit lower and we have the cup holders nice and big, so you can really fit massive Texas sized cups in this with no complaints. We come over to the shifter and we got some more TRD bits. Because we have the TRD Pro, we do have the special TRD shift knob. It's nice. I like the little red accent. Then we have a little bit more like cubby holes, or like just like another cup holder. Yeah, and for like a smaller cup. This looks more like for a coffee cup. But yeah, it's got its good space here. And we get to the armrest, massive compartment under here. So that was nice to see that you can really shove a lot of things in here so that you're not really cluttered out here, which is nice. We get to the back and you guys really can't see that my kid's seat isn't there. So I have a 6-year-old. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe, like, do all the YouTube stuff. But I have a 6-year-old and he loves going on rides in her press cars, and this one was a little tough. Thankfully I had purchased a booster seat to get him in the LC500, which was awesome. But I couldn't put his seat in here. Reason why is because his legs, his knees would have been, that area was too small. So kid's seat facing forward may be a problem because the back isn't the largest. So heads up, if you're gonna buy one, like I always say, take your car seat with you, test it out on on the cars that you're wanting to purchase. So we did have the booster seat in here, and it worked fine. It worked fine. He was able to sit in there comfortably, which again didn't take up much legroom. My wife was also in a comfortable spot and in a safe spot, because that was the other thing. I probably could have fit in the bigger seat or the, you know, the full child seat, but I didn't want my wife to be really up close to the front and have her too close to the airbag itself. So we have that. As far as an adult, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Again, it was more of the kid seat kind of pushing his knees forward. Let's talk performance. Under the hood, we have the 3.5 liter V6, and it is connected to the 6-speed automatic. This has been a tough thing for me to really love in the Tacoma. It's showing its age. It is significantly showing its age. And this is where it really drastically needs a drivetrain change. And I'm talking about from the shifter up. You know, the going from the transmission out is fine, almost, but yeah, this is where it really needs to get this redone. The 3.5 liter, it's a big V6, and it is a very gas hungry V6, but it has what you can almost describe as hollow power. It's a big displacement, but the power doesn't seem to be there. And even with that ECT power button that we have there, that's supposed to deliver, you know, better shifting points to make the most out of the power, I didn't feel a difference really between having it on or off. So this is where it's really falling, or it's really lacking, where, you know, it needs to beat its competitors. That being said, it's still something I want. That's the weird thing about this. I have such an irrational love for this. I shouldn't be complaining about it, but still want it. That's what Toyota is able to do with this, and that's why it's been in the market for so long. Same thing with the Tundra. Same thing, well, now that we have a revised Tundra, but you know, same thing with the Tundra, and now with the 4Runner as well. It's just, they're long in the tooth, and they have aging things. They've, you know, put a little makeup on here and there, but it's still underneath, it's still a very old platform. But again, like I said, the power is just kind of very hollow. What I mean by that is, well, also has to do with the programming of the transmission, as well as, you know, I don't know, the pedal. The pedal was a big thing, because when we went on our road trip and, you know, we were trying to pass a vehicle, you just want to put a little bit of gas, you know, put a little bit of the pedal in, but nothing was happening. It wasn't shifting gears. You had to like literally smash like there. It's still not shifting. I'm probably about halfway and it's still not shifting. Now it finally shifted, and there I had to go up to about 75, and it shouldn't be the case. I mean, it's holding off onto those gears for a really long time, and like I said, even with the ECT so on, it still was doing the same thing. So that's where I think this needs to be really reworked. The other thing as well is the brakes. The brakes on this, as talking performance, are really good. Maybe a little too good. What I mean by that is the pedal itself is so stiff. I have never felt such a stiff pedal. It's crazy, but you know, you just put a little bit of effort and there's so much stopping power in this, which is really surprising considering this still has rear drum brakes. Yes, this still has rear drum brakes. I can't believe I saw that when I went to go take out some trash And I looked in the back and I was like, I can't see the disc brake in the back. I'm like, where is, yeah, it still has drum brakes in the back. Now, when I'm saying it has a lot of stopping power, it doesn't feel like it's locking up at all. I still feel like I have a ton more braking power, which is great before the ABS even kicks in. That's awesome. I do love that. And that feel with the brakes is probably because of the crawl control. So this does have a crawl control on it, and it's really good. Toyota has, for at least what I've been able to test out, is really, really good. And we do have the multi-train selection, so it's a little bit more aggressive on the, you know, depending on what mode, on how it delivers the power, making sure that it is being distributed across all the four wheels. And we have the multi-train select button there, and we have that crawl control, which again, you can change that rotary knob to set the speed of what crawl you want it to be, what speed you want the Tacoma to move. And at the slowest setting, it is really slow, which is great. That's what you want. You don't want it to just get away from you kind of thing. And that's when you hear those brakes. So it is kind of a violent sounding thing. So you'll hear the brakes just really kind of rattle. And it's, again, it wants to make sure that you're not moving too far out. And I think that's what attributes to that really stiff brake pedal, which I'm starting to love, except when you're in stop and go traffic and and you're trying to be gentle on the brakes, but don't want to hit the person in front of you, and you end up really getting everyone in the truck just kind of leaning forward, you know, kind of moving their body because you're a little too aggressive on the brake. And again, we have the two-wheel drive system. We have the 4 high, 4 low. What's crazy is that when I had it in 4 low and you accelerate it, that's when you really felt the power of this. So the gearing in that was great, which leads me to believe that this engine can do better with a better transmission. Give me more gears. 6 gears is not enough. Maybe a 10 speed. I don't know if that's needed, but maybe an 8 speed to give me a little bit more on the lower end if I want to go, you know, a little bit more performance without having to switch over to that 4 low. But yeah, I think this transmission is part of the problem, because again, like I said, if you're not really hammering it, you're not gonna get power from that pedal, which is, yeah. And then when you do hammer it, it is significantly delayed. The V6 doesn't sound bad, and with the exhaust in this, it's okay. It's not bad. I mean, it's a small little truck. Still, the brakes are just so good. You know, coming to a turn, the brakes are just really good. But yeah, I think let's start with the brake pedal and work our way out. We're doing great with the brakes. Let's add that, you know, great performance everywhere else, I guess. So we do have that. Now, who's this for? This is, you know, if you're looking for a nice mid-sized truck, nice compact truck, it's a nice little option to have. Don't expect the luxuries of now these newer, bigger trucks, or even some of these newer trucks that are, you know, smaller trucks that are starting to update. Don't expect that. But if you're able to see past that and see for what it is, and it just more rugged, this is it. It really is a great little package. It's a fun little package to have. And again, if you don't want those big, massive trucks, you can settle on this. The next option, and the option that you want to get with this, is definitely TRD Pro, because of its value. It's gonna hold up its value like crazy, especially with these year-specific colors. With this being the Lunar Rock color, this is a nice color. Next year's the 2022 is a more yellow, electric yellow, kind of mustard looking color, which is nice as well too. My favorite, I think, so far has been Voodoo Blue and this. So these have been my favorite. And then that new yellow for 2022 is definitely a nice little, you know, stand out of the crowd color. But yeah, I think if you're looking for that kind of truck, this is it. When the new models come out, you'll be able to sell this and still have a fairly decent money, you know, value for it, which is crazy. It's crazy that these things are selling for so, reselling for so much. But yeah, well guys, I've enjoyed this one. It's been fun to just kind of, you know, get away from more performance things and just kind of have this like rugged truck to play with. But yeah, well guys, remember, find the right gear. See ya. There you go.